The frightened villagers knew they couldn't handle the situation alone, so they called the local wildlife rescue team. Within minutes, the trained rescuers arrived with protective suits, smoke equipment, and medical supplies. Using smoke to calm the bees, they carefully pushed back the swarm and created space to reach the suffering yak cow. With great caution, the team sprayed herbal repellents to drive the bees away and then guided the yak to a safe area. Once the danger was under control, the veterinarians examined the yak. Its face and body were swollen from multiple stings, and it struggled to stand. The rescue team quickly applied ointments and administered medicine to ease the pain and counter the venom. The yak's breathing gradually returned to normal, and its terrified eyes softened as it realized it was safe. The brave efforts of the rescue team not only saved the yak's life but also showed the importance of swift action and teamwork in protecting wildlife and farm animals. The villagers, grateful and emotional, watched as their beloved yak slowly recovered, standing as a symbol of hope and resilience in the heart of the mountains. The yak wandered too close to a hollow tree where poisonous bees had made their hive. Disturbed by the large creature's movements, the bees suddenly burst out in thousands, their buzzing filling the air like a dark storm cloud. Within seconds, the swarm covered the yak's body, stinging its face, ears, and legs. The animal panicked, trying to run, but its heavy frame made escape difficult. Each step became painful as more bees attacked. The villagers, hearing the deep and distressed cries of the yak, rushed toward the meadow. When they saw the horrifying sight, fear spread among them. They knew these bees were not ordinary, they carried venom that could weaken even the strongest animal. The yak's eyes were red, its breathing rapid, and it looked as though it would collapse at any moment. One of the elders quickly shouted for the wildlife rescue team. Everyone knew only trained rescuers, equipped with protective gear, could fight against such a swarm. The villagers tried to keep their distance, fearing the poisonous stings, but their hearts ached watching the poor yak suffer. Time was slipping away, and each second meant more poison entering the animal's body. Soon, the faint sound of an approaching vehicle echoed through the valley. The rescue team had arrived. Wearing full protective suits, they carried smoke cans, repellents, and first aid kits. With calm determination, they advanced toward the raging swarm. Using the smoke, they created a thick cloud that confused and weakened the bees, forcing many of them to retreat back to the hive. The rescuers worked in perfect coordination, each step carefully measured to avoid further harm to the yak. Finally, they reached the animal. Its body trembled with fear and exhaustion, its fur matted with stingers. The rescuers gently guided it away from the meadow toward a safer corner of the valley. Though weakened, the yak seemed to trust the hands that were leading it to safety. But the real challenge had only begun. The poisonous stings had already done serious damage, and immediate treatment was the only hope. Once the yak was brought to safety, the rescue team quickly set up their emergency medical station. The veterinarians knelt beside the giant animal, examining the deep swelling across its face and neck. Its breathing was harsh, and its legs shook as if it might collapse again. The villagers gathered at a distance, praying silently while watching every move of the rescuers. The lead veterinarian instructed the team with a calm but urgent voice. Antidotes and pain relief injections were prepared. Ointments made with cooling herbs were applied. Across the worst swelling, the yak winced at the touch, but soon, its breathing began to ease slightly. The rescuers also used natural repellents on its fur to prevent any remaining bees from returning. Hours passed like a test of patience and hope. The yak lay on the ground, groaning softly, as the rescuers worked tirelessly. At one point, the animal's breathing grew dangerously shallow, causing panic among the villagers. But the team refused to give up. With constant monitoring and care, they managed to stabilize the yak's condition. When the sun began to dip behind the mountains, a ray of hope finally appeared. The yak slowly lifted its head. Though weak, it managed to stand on shaky legs, leaning against one of the rescuers for support. The villagers gasped in relief, tears shining in their eyes. Their beloved animal, a symbol of strength in the mountains, had survived what seemed like certain death. The rescue team advised the villagers to keep the yak under observation for the next few days and to provide fresh water and gentle care. They also warned them about the bee colony and suggested moving grazing areas further from the hive. For the villagers, this was more than just a lesson in safety. It was a reminder of the value of unity, courage, and expert help when disaster strikes. As night settled over the valley, the yak cow rested peacefully near its shelter, safe from harm. The villagers, still emotional, gathered around the rescuers, thanking them with deep respect. What could have been a story of tragedy turned into one of triumph and survival. The rescue of the yak cow became a tale that spread across the region, a story of bravery, compassion, and the fight for life against impossible odds. The buzzing of the bees that once filled the air with fear was now a memory of how fragile life can be, and how precious every moment of rescue truly is. The mountains returned to their calm silence, and under the watchful stars, the yak cow slept, carrying the marks of its struggle but also the proof of its resilience. It was alive, and that was all that mattered.